I was chilling on my couch, minding my own business, sipping the last sad sip of my cold coffee, when my phone started buzzing like it owed me money. It was my son-in-law Arif. Now listen, Arif only calls me when something's about to go sideways, so I picked up, already suspicious. "Ami, small thing," he said. Whenever someone says small thing, trust me, it's never small. "What is it?" I asked, already squinting. Then he dropped it, so casually, so confidently, like he wasn't about to ruin my whole afternoon. "Ami, we moved my parents into your forest cabin for a bit, just until their renovations finish. Hope that's okay." I swear I blinked so slow I almost time-traveled. "You did what?" He didn't ask, didn't discuss, didn't warn. This man straight up relocated 2 full-grown adults into my personal retreat, like it was an Airbnb he owned. My forehead got hot. My soul stood up. My inner peace packed its bags. Before I continue, do a quick check-in, viewers. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below. And hey, if this story already has you hooked, smack that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and tell me what kind of story topic you want to hear next. Mystery, drama, revenge, real-life chaos? I got you. All right, back to the madness. I sat there on the couch like, ain't no way he said that with his whole chest, but he did. And that was the exact moment I decided, oh no, baby, this ain't gonna slide. I hung up the phone and just sat there, staring at the wall like it personally offended me. Because honestly, this man really tried it. My son-in-law had officially entered his Ebold era, and not in a cute way. I grabbed my keys so fast the wind probably filed a complaint. I wasn't about to sit home imagining what kind of chaos was happening in my forest cabin. That place wasn't just a house. It was the only quiet spot I had left in life. My late husband and I had put our whole hearts into building that place. Every plank of wood had a memory. Every corner had a story. And Arif just decided it was a community center now? As I drove, my brain was doing gymnastics. Like, when exactly did he think I said, sure, move your whole family into my personal sanctuary without asking? Sounds fun. I sure don't remember that conversation. But here's the thing about people like Arif. They confuse kindness with weakness. They mistake silence for permission. They think because you didn't react last time, you'll never react. But baby, even a quiet storm is still a storm. Halfway down the road, I started laughing. That kind of laugh you do when you're mad enough to lift a car. Because the more I thought about it, the more disrespectful it became. Who wakes up and says, let's put my parents in her forest cabin? She won't mind. Boy, if you don't... My grip tightened on the steering wheel. This was about to get messy. Real messy. By the time I reached the edge of the forest road, my heartbeat was doing double time like it needed overtime pay. I kept replaying Arif's words in my head, each time getting more ridiculous than the last. We moved my parents into your cabin. Into my cabin? The one I paid for? The one I maintained? The one I retreat to when y'all drive me insane? Oh, okay. Cool. Bet. As the trees got thicker and the cabin came into view, my jaw legit dropped. And I'm not even being dramatic. My jaw was halfway to the ground. I slowed the car down, squinting like a grandma reading tiny text. There on my porch were shoes. Not one pair, not two. A whole village worth of shoes lined up neatly like a damn shoe sale at Target. Then I saw curtains, new curtains, bright floral ones, on my windows. And parked right beside the cabin, a big plastic storage tub, filled with their stuff, their grocery bags, their blankets. They moved. Like, fully moved. I stepped out of the car slowly, blinking real hard. trying to process the crime scene in front of me. I wasn't ready, but I walked in anyway. And baby, I wish I hadn't. Inside, Arif's mom was standing there like she was giving a house tour. "Oh, you came?" she said, sipping tea she made in my kitchen with my kettle. That was the moment my soul whispered, "Yeah, it's revenge time." The second I stepped through that door, my brain straight up blue-screened. You ever walk into your own place and feel like a tourist? Yeah, that was me. My forest cabin, my quiet escape, had been turned into something I didn't even recognize. The aroma hit first. Not forest air, not pine, not the smell of peace. Nope. It smelled like someone had cooked a full family reunion meal inside my walls. Garlic, onions, spices, just floating in the air like they paid rent. My husband's wooden rocker? Gone. My hand-picked rug? Rolled up in the corner like a misbehaving child. My pictures? Stacked in a shoebox like lost and found items. And the furniture? All rearranged. Like they were auditioning for an HGTV show nobody asked for. Then Arif's dad popped out from the hallway like a Walmart greeter. "Oh, you're here," he said, nodding like I was interrupting their day. "Excuse me, sir?" In my house? My eye twitched so hard it could have powered a light bulb. Arif's mom waved her hand and said, "We changed a few things for comfort. Hope you don't mind." "Hope I don't mind?" Lady, I was one eyebrow raise away from turning into a documentary titled, "The Day She Finally Snapped." I stood there taking it all in. The chaos, the entitlement, the disrespect so loud it was practically echoing. And I felt something switch inside me. A flip, a snap, a click. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a takeover, and I was about to take it right back. I swear the more I looked around, the worse it got. My cabin didn't just look different. It looked like two completely opposite aesthetics fought to the death and both lost. My cozy log cabin vibe? Gone. Dead. Buried 6 feet under. In its place, a chaotic mix of floral curtains, shiny tablecloths, and random decorations that screamed, Walmart clearance aisle meets cheap wedding reception. Even my salt and pepper shakers had been replaced. Who replaces someone's salt shakers without asking? What kind of villain origin story was this? And the dining table? They covered it with a plastic floral sheet so loud it hurt my eyes. I was like, did y'all decorate or did you panic? Arif's mom was walking around like she was the CEO of my cabin. She tapped the couch and said, "We moved this, it felt more open. Don't worry, we know what we're doing." Know what you're doing? Ma'am, if chaos interior design was a job, you'd be employee of the year. Then I noticed a box labeled old stuff. And guess what was inside? My memories, my frames, my late husband's wooden carvings, just tossed in there like thrift store donations. That was it. My patients called it quits. Clocked out. Went home. I didn't even argue. Didn't yell. Didn't explain. I just stood there silently, nodding like a villain planning something in season 3 of a Netflix series. Because one thing about me, I don't do loud fights. I do quiet revenge. And oh, honey, the plan was already forming. I swear every second I stayed in that cabin. Arif's mom's confidence grew like she was collecting power-ups in a video game. She walked around with this vibe like she personally signed the mortgage papers, paid the taxes, planted the trees, and built the cabin with her bare hands. She pointed at the fireplace and said, "We're thinking of putting our TV here. The wall is perfect for it." Our TV? We're thinking? Lady, who is because last I checked, the only we that mattered died with my husband. I kept my hands in my pockets mostly so I didn't accidentally throw something. Then she opened my fridge, and said, "We cleaned it out. Your things were taking too much space." My things. In my house, taking too much space. At that point, my soul dead-ass left my body, looked at the situation from above and said, "Girl, you better than me." But the final straw? Oh, she delivered it with a smile. "We invited some relatives over tomorrow. They want to see the forest house. So please don't come early, and we'll be using the place." I blinked. Once, twice, thrice. This woman invited guests into my cabin and then told me not to come. My jaw didn't drop, it retired. I walked out to the porch, staring at the trees like they were therapists. Because if I didn't breathe, I was about to make the evening news. One thing became crystal clear. They weren't borrowing my cabin. They were moving in, and they thought I'd just roll with it. Oh, honey, they picked the wrong woman. I sat on the porch, taking in the chaos like a storm churning in slow motion. The smell of someone else's cooking, the rearranged furniture, the boxed-up memories, the audacity of it all. And you know what? The disrespect was so loud, I swear my ancestors probably rolled their eyes from the afterlife. I took a deep breath, trying to channel any bit of zen, but it was impossible. Every step I took inside felt like walking on someone else's planet. My own planet, my peace, my home. Arif's dad tried to make small talk. "So how's your day?" I looked at him dead in the eye. My day is you moving into my house without asking." Crickets. Of course. Because accountability isn't part of their vocabulary. I checked my phone, texting my daughter. "Kid, we need to talk, stat." Even my dog gave me this look, like he knew the energy in the cabin had been violated. And yes, dogs feel disrespect too. I wasn't losing my mind. I was just losing my patience. At that moment, I realized kindness only works when people respect it. They had crossed every line in the forest. My boundaries? Trampled my trust? Shredded, my calm exploded. So I sat there staring at the trees, plotting, quietly. Because one thing about revenge, it hits harder when you smile while planning it. And trust me, baby, this was gonna be epic. I tried, okay? I legit tried to keep my cool. I told myself, breathe, smile, let it slide. But honey, the universe has a sense of humor, and my inner volcano wasn't having it. Every little thing they did was like poking a bear with a stick. The floral curtains, the plastic tablecloth, the audacity of walking into my fridge like it was a boutique. Every time I opened my mouth to speak, my blood pressure gave me the side eye. Arif was texting me nonstop. "Chill, Ami, they're just trying to be comfortable." Chill? Comfortable? This was my sacred space, my retreat, my forest sanctuary. And now it smelled like leftover curry, entitlement and chaos. Halfway through, I had to step outside and scream into the trees. Just scream, let all the frustration out. I imagined my husband standing beside me, shaking his head, muttering, "Girl, handle it." And then I had an idea, a little seed of mischief, a plan forming so quiet, so perfectly petty. It made me smirk like a villain in a Netflix series. Before I could execute it, though, I had to check in with you guys real quick. Hey fam, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. And if you're vibing with this drama, hit that subscribe button, press the bell icon, and tell me, which type of story do you want to see next? Revenge, scandal, real-life chaos? Back to the cabin. Because, baby, this wasn't over. Not even close. The calm before the storm? Yeah, it was about to hit hard. So after that phone call and my mini meltdown, I knew I had to loop my daughter in. She's smart, sassy, and totally no nonsense. Basically my partner in crime for dealing with nonsense. I called her up and honey, the confusion in her voice was like watching someone solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. "Mom, wait, they moved into your cabin." she stammered. Yes, kiddo. Into my cabin, and no, they didn't ask. Nope, nada. She went silent for a hot second, probably imagining her dad's favorite chair crushed under a pile of floral chaos. Then came the inevitable. Mom, are you, like, mad? Mad? Honey, I wasn't just mad. I was a storm in human form, a tornado of sass, energy, and low-key vengeance brewing. But I kept my voice calm, too calm, like the eye of the hurricane. You better believe it. And we're about to fix this, quick. She started laughing nervously, but I could tell she was hyped for what was coming. She knows me. Once I decide someone's testing me, it's over before the popcorn even pops. We spent the next hour strategizing over FaceTime, plotting moves, imagining reactions, and honestly, felt kind of fun. Because here's the thing. When your space, your memories, your peace are disrespected, you don't just sit there and cry. You plan. And we were about to serve a lesson so loud, even the forest would echo it. That night I couldn't sleep. Not one wink. My brain was on overdrive, replaying every insult, every rearranged frame, every spicy smell of someone else treating my home like a hotel. My nice girl era? Gone, retired, out the window. I sat at the kitchen table, sipping black coffee so strong it could wake the dead, and plotted. Step 1. Make sure they understood this wasn't just borrowed space. Step 2. Reclaim my cabin without looking like a psycho. Step 3. Well, baby, that's the part that made the plan chef's kiss perfect. I thought about how Arif's mom strutted around like she owned the place. How his dad smiled smugly while opening my fridge. How my daughter nearly cried when she saw the chaos. All of that? Fuel, pure fuel. And I laughed. Softly at first, then louder, like a villain who just read the rules and decided, nah, I make my own. I mapped everything in my head. Who goes where? What gets moved? When the truck rolls up, how to serve the legal surprise with zero mercy. The calm before the storm felt electric. I lit a candle, whispered a little prayer, and smiled. My late husband's favorite scent filled the cabin. And I knew. Tomorrow my forest cabin would scream, respect my space or deal with the consequences. This was it. No more warnings. No more patience. Time to take my home and my peace back. The next morning I woke up before sunrise, before the birds, before the annoying rooster alarm. Arif's dad sat on his phone like he was running a farm. I stood on the porch with my coffee, listening to the forest breathe. My forest, my peace, my turf. But inside the cabin, oh, it sounded like a Walmart on Black Friday. Pots banging, doors slamming, loud voices, and someone complaining about the draft. Buddy was AIR in a forest. What did they expect, central heating from heaven? I stepped back inside and watched them for a second. They didn't even notice me. Arif's dad was shirtless, again scratching his belly like he owned the place. His mom was yelling about the water pressure. My daughter was apologizing for their behavior for the 200th time, and that's when it hit me like a slap of cold truth. They thought my kindness was weakness. I smiled. Dangerously. The kind of smile people see before a plot twist ruins their whole week. While they devoured the breakfast they made with my groceries, I grabbed my notebook, the Do Not Mess With Me, one, and started writing the plan. Bullet points, baby, clean, efficient, savage. Step 1, call my lawyer friend. Step 2, contact the sheriff's office for occupancy laws. Step 3, prep the property line surprise. Step 4, make the announcement that would shake their souls. They had no idea the storm was already forming, and I was done being quiet. All right, so step 1 in Operation Reclaim My Cabin was obvious. Lawyer up. I mean, you don't go toe-to-toe with entitlement without backup. I grabbed my phone, Dialed my lawyer like she was my personal hype squad and said, "Girl, we got a situation." She didn't even need details. She knows me. "Send me everything," she said. "We're about to make some magic happen." And honey, when she said magic, she meant legal magic. The kind that makes people sweat in floral curtains. I texted Arif too, casually. "Hey, just letting you know we're checking occupancy rules." "Don't freak," he probably laughed. Big mistake. While on the call, I took inventory of the chaos. The rearranged furniture, the boxes labeled old stuff, the random candles on shelves. I pictured a legal bomb dropping and these two adults realizing, maybe for the first time in life, that their boldness had consequences. Then I had to do the fun part, document everything. Photos, notes, receipts, proof that they moved in illegally. I snapped a pic of the floral curtains like a spy. The kitchen mess, documented. Every inch of my cabin, now theirs in their minds, captured for evidence. By the end of the call, my lawyer gave me the smirk over Zoom I've come to love. "Don't worry," she said. "We're gonna make it clear. Your house, your rules, period." And right then I realized, this wasn't just about taking back a house. It was about teaching them a lesson they won't forget. After lawyer hour, it was time for step 2, paperwork. And honey, we weren't talking your average sign here, have a nice day stuff. Nah, this paperwork was about to hit harder than the Monday after a long weekend. I sat at my desk, laptop open. Documents stacked like a mini skyscraper. Ownership papers, occupancy rules, lease transfers, the works. Every line was written with the subtle threat of, "Mess with me and you're done." I typed with precision, almost smiling at how perfectly petty it all was. Arif's parents thought they were visiting. Cute, adorable, hilarious. They had no idea that legally, they were about to be served eviction style. Before they even realized it, I attached photos, receipts, and dates. Every floral curtain, every borrowed kitchen utensil, every rearranged frame, documented every single thing. Proof that my peace had been violated. Then came the pièce de résistance, the official legal notice. Bold font, professional tone, and just enough sass to make it sting. I read it aloud like a queen giving a royal decree. This property is privately owned. No individual may occupy, rearrange, or decorate without written permission from the owner. Failure to comply may result in legal consequences. I leaned back and sipped my coffee, imagining the chaos when these papers landed in Arif's hands. Step 2 was done. Step 3, the surprise they were not ready for. And baby, it was gonna be legendary. Okay, here's where things get juicy. Step 3 was all about the surprise. And baby, when I say surprise, I mean the kind that makes your stomach flip and your ego curl up into a ball. I waited until mid-morning, right when Arif's parents were in full making themselves at home mode. You know the type, blasting music, rearranging my cushions, and humming like they owned the whole forest. Yeah, that's when I struck. I grabbed the envelope from my desk, the one my lawyer friend lovingly prepared, and stepped outside, like a queen about to deliver justice. I called Arif over casually, like nothing was wrong. Big mistake for him. "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I said, holding the envelope like it contained a golden ticket. "What is it?" Arif asked, clueless. "Just give this to your parents. It's paperwork." He blinked, then froze. I swear the moment the envelope reached their hands, their smiles dropped faster than Wi-Fi in a storm. They opened it. Their eyes widened. Their jaws hit the floor. My cabin, my rules, my legal ownership, all spelled out crystal clear. Arif's mom sputtered. Arif's dad turned ghost white. And I just smiled, sipping my coffee like, Yep, that's how it feels when karma looks like paperwork. The forest was quiet for the first time in a week. Peace, my peace. And I knew. The surprise had landed perfectly. After the legal bomb dropped, I knew it was time for the physical takeover. Step 4, the setup. And honey, this was about to be cinematic. Think chaos meets justice with a sprinkle of petty satisfaction. I called a moving truck and arranged for a team to come early. Boxes, check. Labels, check. Gloves, check. Attitude, off the charts. The plan was simple. Get Arif's parents, stuff out without touching a single one of my belongings, and do it efficiently. With flair. By mid-morning, the truck rolled up like a scene straight out of a reality show. I stood on the porch, hands on hips, supervising every move. The movers were pros, lifting, stacking, and hauling with military precision. Meanwhile, Arif's parents were inside, sipping tea, totally unaware that their vacation home was about to turn into a moving nightmare. I had strategically placed boxes outside labeled, "Your stuff, go home, and I do not touch my memories." Every item they thought they owned, tagged, packed, and ready to leave. I even played a little dramatic soundtrack on my phone, loud enough to make the forest echo. It felt like the universe was cheering me on. Arif was pacing, panicking, texting like crazy. "Mom, can we talk?" "Sorry, baby," I said. "We're in full action mode." By the time the truck pulled away, all that remained inside the cabin was me, my coffee and sweet, sweet victory. Now comes the fun part, the grand finale. I invited Arif and my daughter back to the cabin, making it sound casual, like a family hangout. Little did they know, this wasn't casual. It was the stage for the ultimate showdown. I had everything set. The truck was gone, boxes stacked neatly outside, and every inch of the cabin restored to its pre-invasion glory. I even lit my husband's favorite candle, filling the space with that comforting scent that screams mine. When Arif arrived with his daughter, I greeted them casually. "Hey, come on in," I said, smiling like nothing happened. But inside I was buzzing with excitement. The look on their faces when they realized the cabin was back under my rule, priceless. They stepped inside and froze. The smell of the candle, the familiar layout, my decorations perfectly in place. Their parents' chaos, gone. Just the quiet, peaceful cabin they thought they could claim. I leaned against the counter, sipping coffee. "So, nice day for a visit, huh?" I said. The sarcasm was subtle but deadly. Arif tried to play it cool, but honey, I could see it. The shock, the disbelief, the realization that their little move-in without permission stunt had been completely undone. And that's when I knew the show had officially begun. My forest cabin wasn't just restored. It was reclaimed, and everyone knew exactly who was boss. The next morning I texted Arif, "Bring your parents. We need to talk." He rolled his eyes but complied. What happened next, honey? It was worth every ounce of patience, planning, and petty energy I'd poured into this. They pulled up to the cabin, expecting the same chaos they had moved into. The moment they stepped out of the car, priceless, and I mean cinematic, meme-worthy. The kind of look that belongs on TikTok. Arif's mom froze mid-step, staring at the porch. Arif's dad's jaw literally dropped, like someone had hit pause on his life. Every comfort adjustments they made, gone. Every floral curtain, misplaced chair, or rogue candle. Back to my vibe. Hi," she said, voice shaky. Eyes darting everywhere like she was a tourist in a museum she didn't pay for. "Hi," I said sweetly, like sugar coating on a justice-filled cake. "Welcome back to the cabin." They shuffled their feet, avoiding my gaze. The audacity of their move meeting reality was something else. I almost laughed aloud, but nah, patience, remember? I watched Arif try to whisper some "it's fine" nonsense. Spoiler, it wasn't fine. They couldn't even form a full sentence. Shock, humiliation, and a tiny sprinkle of fear danced across their faces. And there I was, sipping my coffee, smiling like a queen who just reclaimed her throne. The look on their faces, I'll never forget. Priceless. By now, Arif's parents had officially been demoted from invaders to, well, let's just say evicted Sims Maombe's energy. They sat outside on the porch steps, surrounded by their belongings neatly packed in boxes, looking like they'd just been booted from a game they didn't know they were playing. Arif tried to console them. "Mom, Dad, it's okay, it's just temporary." Temporary? Honey, this was full-blown eviction with style, grace, and zero mercy. I sipped my coffee from the kitchen window, watching the chaos outside like it was prime-time reality TV. Every now and then, Arif's dad muttered something about miscommunication while moving a box half an inch to the left. His mom sighed dramatically, clutching her floral scarf like it could shield her from karma. It was surreal. The same cabin that had been invaded, disrespected, and rearranged, back in my control, my sanctuary restored, and the audacity of their expressions, priceless. I thought about stepping outside, giving them the "here's your house now" smirk. But nah, let them stew. Let them feel the weight of their boldness. Let them realize that not every house is a free Airbnb for entitled relatives. Arif paced nervously. I could hear him whispering excuses like, "It's not what it looks like." But baby, it looked exactly like it did. Justice served cold, and a little petty on top. The forest was quiet again, except for their sighs, groans, and the occasional "maybe we should have asked first." Arif thought he could play hero. I could see it in his eyes. The classic "I'm the adult, I got this" look. Big mistake, baby, huge. He puffed up, squared his shoulders, and said, "Mom, come on, this isn't necessary. We can talk." Talk? Honey, the conversation had already happened, twice, in the form of chaos, legal papers, and eviction-level vibes. I leaned against the counter, sipping my coffee, pretending to listen. Inside, I was laughing so hard I almost spilled it. Arif's tough guy energy, about as strong as wet tissue. He tried again, voice rising a notch. "We didn't mean to upset anyone." "Oh, boo. Sweetheart, you literally uprooted 2 adults into my cabin." "Upset? That's like saying a hurricane is a bit breezy." I tilted my head, giving him the look that said, "Nice try, champ. You're not in charge here." Meanwhile, his parents were still outside, acting like NPCs in a video game stuck on the wrong map. They glanced nervously at Arif, like maybe he could save them from this nightmare. Spoiler, he couldn't. I finally set my mug down calmly. "Arif, your parents are aware now. My rules, my cabin, my peace." He swallowed hard, finally realizing the truth. He wasn't the adult. He wasn't the tough guy. And in my cabin, he never would be. Victory. Sweet, quiet, petty, and oh so satisfying. Just when I thought the cabin had returned to peaceful vibes, Arif's mom decided to erupt. Loud, dramatic, over the top. The kind of yelling that makes your dog hide under the bed. "How dare you!" she shrieked, flailing her hands like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "This is my house too. You can't just—" Honey, I let her go. Let her scream. Let her try to intimidate me. She thought volume equaled power. Cute. Then I calmly walked over, coffee in hand, and said, with every ounce of chill I could muster, "Actually, yes. This is my house. My rules, my memories. And you overstepped big time." Her jaw dropped. She sputtered, looked at her husband for backup. None came. Arif stood frozen, realizing his mom's theatrics weren't going to intimidate me. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice for extra effect. You moved in without asking. You rearranged my things. You disrespected my space, and now you're facing the consequences. Full circle, baby. The irony hit her. The legal notice. The trucked-out boxes. Every little petty detail. It all landed at once. She opened her mouth to retort, then stopped. Her eyes widened. For the first time, I saw real recognition. You weren't joking. Oh no, baby. I never joke when it comes to my peace. And with that, the cabin's atmosphere shifted. I wasn't just the homeowner anymore. I was the queen of my domain. At this point, it was time to go full throttle. Calm, collected. And with the satisfaction of someone about to drop a truth bomb bigger than their audacity, I grabbed the legal envelope, the one my lawyer had prepped like a secret weapon, and walked up to Arif's mom. Here, I said, handing it over like it was candy. You'll want to read this. She looked at me, confused, squinting like I was speaking in a foreign language. Arif's dad hovered nervously behind her. She opened it. Instant chaos. Eyes went wide, jaws dropped, faces turned colors I didn't even know existed. The words were clear, sharp, and ruthless. No unauthorized occupancy. Legal consequences for violations. Property restored to owner. And then came the cherry on top, the photos. Every rearranged frame, every floral curtain, every borrowed item documented. My proof, my victory, my karma in paperwork form. Arif tried to intervene. Mom, don't overreact. Overreact? Honey, reality just hit harder than any argument. I leaned back, sipping my coffee, watching the meltdown unfold. Arif's mom whispered almost inaudibly, We didn't think she'd... Exactly, you didn't think. That's why you lost. The forest was silent except for soft gasps and mutters. Peace had returned. My home had returned. And the lesson? Delivered. This wasn't just about law. It was about respect, boundaries, and showing that I don't play when it comes to my peace. Arif finally looked like he'd seen a ghost, or, more accurately, like he realized he was out of his league. His I got this act? Completely evaporated, gone, poof, like a cheap magic trick. He rubbed the back of his neck, pacing like a nervous teenager caught sneaking out. Mom, okay, wow. This is, His words stumbled over themselves like clumsy acrobats. I watched him silently, sipping my coffee, letting the realization settle. This wasn't about him. It wasn't about charm or trying to fix anything. This was about boundaries, respect, and consequences. His parents were still outside, mumbling apologies under their breath, staring at the boxes like they'd been caught in a very public game of, oops, my bad. Arif glanced at them, then at me, finally understanding he had no control here. I tilted my head and said calmly, Arif, your parents need to respect my home, not your interpretation of what's polite. His face went pale. The panic, the shame, the helplessness, it all registered in a single heartbeat. He finally realized this wasn't a negotiation. This wasn't a minor argument. This was me taking back what's mine. And honey, the best part? He knew he couldn't argue. Not with the legal papers. Not with the trucked-out boxes. Not with the quiet confidence I radiated. Arif learned the hard way, some levels, way above pay grade. Some boundaries, non-negotiable. And in my forest cabin, I was the final boss. After the chaos settled, I turned to my daughter. She had been watching quietly, wide-eyed, taking in the meltdown, the boxes, the legal bomb, and the full-blown reclaim my home energy radiating from me. Mom, wow, she said softly, almost whispering. I get it now. I didn't realize how serious this was. Exactly, that was the point. Sometimes kids don't see the full scope of entitlement until reality smacks them in the face. And honey, this was the full scope, the big picture, the don't mess with my mom lesson. I smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. Sweetie, it's not about anger. It's about respect, boundaries, and knowing that no one can just waltz into your life or your home and take what isn't theirs. She nodded, finally understanding the intensity behind my earlier phone calls, the careful planning, the legal backup, and yes, even the coffee-fueled plotting. Mom, they really thought they could just move in, she asked. I chuckled softly, shaking my head. Yeah, they thought my kindness was weakness. And they were dead wrong. For the first time, she truly saw the forest cabin as more than just a house. It was a symbol of boundaries, memories, and my peace. And as we both looked out at the restored calm of the cabin, she whispered, I think I understand now. This is our space, ours and no one else's. Exactly, kiddo, exactly. By mid-morning, the truck was loaded. Engines humming, ready to take every single box of their belongings away from my forest cabin. I watched from the porch, coffee in hand, feeling that sweet, satisfying mix of justice and relief. Arif's parents climbed in silently, still shell-shocked. No more loud proclamations. No more we own this place energy. Just quiet compliance. Every inch of defiance had been carefully packed, labeled, and removed. It was like watching a messy reality show finally come to a dramatic commercial break. Arif hovered by the driver's side, trying to mediate. Mom, Dad, we'll just go, okay? His voice was shaky and I couldn't help but smirk. The guy finally realized he had zero control here, zero, nada. The truck rolled down the forest path, bumping slightly over roots and stones, carrying away chaos, entitlement, and the floral curtains that had invaded my sacred space. I waved lightly, a queen acknowledging the departure of defeated invaders. When the truck disappeared from view, a calm settled over the cabin like the first breath after a storm. The smell of the forest returned, the silence heavenly. My coffee tasted sweeter. The memories, the peace, the late husband's candle. Everything was mine again. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, Welcome back, my home. Welcome back, my peace. Arif finally looked at me, eyes wide. Mom, you really did all that? I just smiled. Yeah, baby. And next time, nobody messes with my cabin. With the truck gone and the forest cabin finally silent, I took a slow, victorious stroll through every room. Every plank of wood, every corner, every little memory-filled knick-knack, it was all mine again. And baby, it felt like reclaiming a throne. I straightened cushions, lit candles, and even replaced a few personal touches my late husband loved. It wasn't just about tidying up. It was about reclaiming energy, reclaiming power, reclaiming my space. I walked into the living room and breathed deeply. The air smelled like home, like peace, like victory. I sat in my favorite chair, sipping coffee, and thought about how bold some people get when they assume kindness equals weakness. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. I glanced out the window at the path the truck took, imagining the faces of the evicted, priceless. They'd never forget the lesson. And honestly, neither would Arif. Taking back my house wasn't just about furniture or boxes. It was about asserting boundaries, demanding respect, and showing that in my domain I set the rules. I smiled, sipping my coffee like a queen surveying her kingdom. The forest around me once again felt like a protective cloak, shielding my memories, my peace, my life. And in that moment I knew something powerful. Some battles are worth fighting. Some revenge is worth planning. And some victories, oh, they taste sweeter than anything else in the world. With the invaders gone and the truck finally out of sight, I grabbed a broom, dust cloth, and my good cleaning gloves like a warrior preparing for the final victory lap. This wasn't just about cleaning dust, it was about sweeping away the last traces of chaos, entitlement, and bad vibes. I went room by room, wiping surfaces, fluffing pillows, and straightening every frame. Every step I took felt like reclaiming not just space, but energy. The cabin began to glow again, not just with sunlight through the windows, but with my calm, steady aura finally back in place. I even rearranged a few pieces of furniture, subtly reminding myself, I'm the queen here. Every placement, every little touch was about grounding myself in the space I fought so hard to protect. By the time I finished, I paused, leaned on the broom, and just breathed. The air smelled like pine, candles, and something else, freedom. Sweet, peaceful freedom. I looked out the window at the forest and whispered a little thanks to my late husband. Lighting his favorite candle was a ritual now, a way to honor his memory while reclaiming what was mine. Cleaning the cabin wasn't just about tidying up, it was about clearing my mind, restoring my peace and sealing the victory with every sweep. Every dusted shelf, every polished surface. Finally, I sat back. Coffee in hand, smiling, cabin, restored peace, restored me, empowered. Once the cabin was fully cleaned and my energy restored, I moved to the final, most personal touch, lighting my late husband's favorite candle. It wasn't just wax and fragrance, it was a ritual, a symbol of peace reclaimed and memories honored. I held the candle, feeling the smooth glass in my hands, and took a deep breath. The scent was familiar, comforting, grounding, pine, cedar, a hint of spice. It instantly transported me to calmer times, before chaos invaded my forest haven. As I lit it, a sense of calm washed over me. The flame danced like it knew it had a home to protect, like it understood the victory that had just been claimed. I let the warm glow fill the room, illuminating the furniture, the pictures, and every corner of the cabin I had fought so hard to reclaim. I whispered quietly, almost to myself, "This is for you, love. Our home is ours again." The candlelight reflected in my eyes, steady and soft, like the forest itself approved. Even outside, the air felt different, the chaos gone, replaced with tranquility. The forest seemed to sigh with me, welcoming back its rightful queen. Lighting that candle wasn't just a simple act, it was a statement, a promise, a restoration. I smiled, letting the aroma fill the cabin. This was my sanctuary again. My memories, my peace, my love. And nothing, not even entitlement disguised as family, could take that from me. With the candle flickering and the cabin fully restored, I stepped outside into the crisp forest air. Every leaf, every tree, every bird sounded different. It felt like the forest itself had breathed a sigh of relief. My peace had returned, and with it, a sense of ownership stronger than ever. Walking along the winding path, I noticed small details I hadn't appreciated in a while. The way sunlight danced through the branches, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of a woodpecker. It was quiet, serene, and mine, truly mine. The chaos of the past week felt distant now, like a bad dream. The forest wasn't just a backdrop, it was a living, breathing witness to my victory. Every step I took felt grounded, intentional, like I was claiming more than just property. I was reclaiming my space, my energy, my life. Even Arif and my daughter watched in awe, realizing that boundaries weren't just rules on paper. They were lived, felt, defended, and honored. The forest amplified that lesson. It was a silent, majestic witness to what respect looked like. I paused by my favorite tree, running a hand over its bark. Memories, love, and triumph wrapped around me like a warm blanket. This cabin, this forest, this life, they weren't just a house or property anymore. They were a symbol of strength, resilience, and the quiet power of a woman who knows her worth. And for the first time in days, I smiled fully. The forest felt like mine again. After the truck drove away and peace settled over the forest, I turned to Arif. Poor guy. He finally got it. The "I can smooth this over" act. Dead, gone, vaporized. Mom, wow, he muttered, scratching the back of his neck. His confidence was shot. He'd spent the week thinking he could mediate, charm, and negotiate his way out of disaster. Reality, brutal. I leaned back casually, coffee in hand, giving him that look, the one that says, "Don't test me." He swallowed hard, realizing that my patience has limits. And when crossed, consequences aren't optional, they're guaranteed. "Arif," I said slowly, letting the words land like a hammer. "Some lessons only hit once. My home, my rules, my peace. You saw what happens when boundaries are ignored. Don't ever test it again." He nodded quickly, eyes wide. No excuses, no protests, just understanding, finally. I could see the wheels turning in his head. He got the message loud and clear. Your mom isn't someone to push around. Not in her house, not in her life, not in her peace. I smiled, sipping my coffee. Because sometimes watching someone learn a lesson the hard way is oddly satisfying. The forest around us seemed to echo it. Quiet, serene, protective. A warning to anyone thinking of crossing me in the future. Arif learned fast, and baby, that lesson wasn't optional. Respect me, respect the space, or pay the consequences. Always. Finally, the cabin was quiet. The truck gone. The chaos removed. The disrespect confronted. And me? Sitting in my favorite chair, coffee in hand, feeling like a boss. Like a queen who just reclaimed her kingdom. Lighting that candle. Breathing in the forest air. Watching my daughter smile with understanding. I realized something. Peace isn't given, it's earned, defended, and sometimes unapologetically reclaimed. The forest wasn't just trees and dirt anymore. It was a reminder. Every leaf, every whisper of wind, every bird call screamed, "This space is mine, protected, respected, unshakable." Arif finally got it. His parents got it, and I learned something too. Strength isn't about loud words or anger. It's about knowing your worth, setting boundaries and standing firm, even when people push back. I sipped my coffee again, letting the aroma of pine, candle wax, and freedom fill my senses. The cabin, the forest, the memories, they were intact, protected, mine. And that feeling, unbeatable. Sometimes life throws chaos at you. Sometimes people cross lines they shouldn't, but there's a way to handle it. Strategically, calmly, and yes, with a little USA-style flair. My peace, my home, my forest, it was all back. And honey, it felt epic. So here's the takeaway. Respect boundaries. Protect your space. And never forget, the queen always reclaims her throne. The forest whispered back, "Welcome home."